Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarre YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Tonight's film is 1984's Christina. 1984's Christina, starring on the cover right there, Miss Jewel Shepard. Many horror cult fans know her from Return of the Living Dead. This is 1984's Christina. This is put out by Intervision, which you can see right there. Also, some ties with Severin Films as well. This is the back. This is their brand new Blu-ray release. I pre-ordered it from Severin Films, and it came a few days ago. Here it is. And it says on the back, the infamous Skin Classic is back, now with even more to see in eye-popping HD. This is it, folks. 1984, Christina, starring Jewel Shepard. There's that awesome cover, awesome font, awesome look. Let's talk about this film a little bit, folks, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Essentially, what we have is, we have an 80s type of European feel of wealth and affluence and just riches galore from this woman, and essentially you go through her adventures as she becomes a prisoner, and becomes prisoner multiple times, and as people want her money, as people want her family inheritance for ransom, so on and so forth. And so you are taking this, I would, probably not good to say adventure when somebody's held captive, but you're taking the travels with Christina as she is free, held captive, is free, held captive, and all of the excitement, all within that. So this is Christina here, and first and foremost, I got to say, this film was filmed in France and Spain, and you definitely have that strong vibe. I mean, it feels like a Jess Franco film in many regards, in terms of the atmospheres, the locations, the architecture, the music. Amazing. If I mean, this needs to have a soundtrack on vinyl, CD, whatever. There's amazing music in this film. This is 80s, European electronic dance music with a lot of dark touches, a lot of almost touches that sound like it could be in like Argento's Phenomena or something. A lot of ambiance and atmosphere. All electronic, all synthesized, and it's just synthesized, dance coming off the tails of disco into the affluent credit card 80s, and into, the kind of the dance scene in the dance clubs of the 80s, and especially in France and Spain. I mean, the score for this film is all synthesized, it's all electronic, and like I said, there's a lot of atmosphere in the score as well. And there is a main theme of the score also that you will hear on the menu screen at the beginning of the film. There's an amazing title sequence for the beginning of this film, and also the end of the movie as well. Awesome uses of music and music throughout this entire film. There's tons of music. So great score, very electronic. If you like 80s synthesized yet sleazy, erotic, with some jazz touches in there as well, with some erotic sexual touches in there as well, and then just all out 80s club sleaze trash dancing music. This is the movie for you. Great stuff. Cinematography of this film is awesome. The style of this film is awesome. You can catch it in the opening credits of this movie. It's in a club, the lights flashing, the dancing, the seduction. It's just awesome. He does a lot of shots from kind of looking up, making things look much bigger than they are. He does a lot of shots like that in this film, with architecture, with women, in particular Jewel Shepard, and just fantastic shots. She's doing some modeling shots at the beginning of the film, so you're almost getting that vibe as a viewer of the film as well. The direction, the cinematography really is artistic in a way that a model would would be shot in a way that it's a Playboy shoot or a penthouse shoot. It has that kind of vibe to it, and there's a haze. There's a little bit of a haze on this film as well, which is that kind of erotic sexploitation haze, to the film, which just looks really cool, and the Blu-ray in particular really has. I never saw it on DVD. I never saw it in any other format, but it looks good. And there are certain sections of the film that just look amazing. So there's like certain sections, especially in daytime, look like the best. I mean, they're so freaking cool. And there's some very bizarre things going on in this film. We have narration at the beginning of the movie. A man's voice, Christina, stuff like that. But then Christina looks at the camera and responds to the narrator. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. So that was really, really kind of experimental and cool and weird. And so the film kind of plays off of that. And then we have these crazy, that are never explained dream sequences in this film that are pretty surreal, very sexual, very weird. Psychoanalysis and psychoanalytically surreal in some weird way, and they're first person. This film kind of plays off of first person, then it's just a regular kind of third person of a film. It plays back and forth the whole time. You're not even certain. If when Christina is looking at you watching the movie, or when the movie's just going on. So there's a lot of style in this movie. It's the lights, the sunbeams, awesomeness, the way the sex scenes are shot. There's a lot of sex in this film, and each sex scene is shot differently, because they're different environments. The architecture in this film is awesome. We have very affluent, wealthy environments in this film. It really reminded me a lot of Jess Franco films. And then we also have kind of a very kind of dilapidated hut, on this mountain, and by firelight, and some wine, some cheese and bread. We have that, to a beautiful boat, with caviar, and this awesome mansion over by the water, and the beach and the sand. There's so much, just beautiful architecture in this film, and this whole film just bleeds like 80s rich 80s affluent sleaze, that whole vibe. If you love that kind of stuff, if you love watching 80s horror films that are in like kind of rich suburbs, and it's like trashy and it's kind of sleazy, and you just amp that up a million times and make it into an erotic sexploitation film as well, then you got this. I mean, you're getting a piece of that vibe, especially with the score in this movie as well. Now, this film really, I mean, at its core, of course, is the sexploitation film. It's an 80s sexploitation film. But it has, I scratched my throat, sorry. But it also has crazy action sequences with motorcycles, a horse, people jumping on each other. There's this little kind of restaurant where it's almost like ethnic dancing, Spanish dancing and singing. There's so many things going on, but there's a lot of action in this film. There are fight sequences with the women on women, men. I mean, it's pretty nuts. And I gotta say, the action sequences, while this is obviously a low budget film, and the action sequences, you can see the stunt double sometimes, but I gotta be honest with you, some of the stuff they're doing in here, it's pretty nuts. Like there's this one section near the beginning of the film where there's like involves a horse and a bunch of motorcycles, and then there's another section like later on that involves a bunch of motorcycles and a high-speed chase with lettuce and what looks to be cantaloupes. I mean, just some wild stuff. I would not want to be the stunt people in this film. There's a big brawl that breaks out in this one like kind of restaurant club, I believe in Spain, where people are jumping on each other like they're literally doing it. Obviously, there's no CGI, folks. These are real stunts going on in this film, and it's wild. In terms of the sexuality of this film, Jewel Shepard, who's in the cover, she's the lead here. this American girl who's in the forefront of this film, and obviously, if she was not sexually attractive, if she was not attractive, if her body wasn't awesome, how could she ever lead this film? But she checks off all of those and she leads this film awesomely. She has this air about her. She has this vibe about her in her face, in her smile, in her, in her teeth, in just just the way she is, the way that she's naked also. She has this whole vibe, and she carries the film very well. She has the seduction. She has the free attitude of her wealth and her affluence and her inheritance. She has the free love vibe. She has also this endurance and this kind of pushing through, making the best of every situation, but also using her body, using sex to kind of make the best of situations. And in this film, of course, we have some borderline orgies, we have some strip dancing, we have full frontal nudity and pretty up close and personal on the vagina also for the women. I don't recall any too much male nudity in the film, but definitely for women, we have a bathhouse sequence. Lots of sex scenes, and of course, it all seems implied. I mean, there's nothing really quote unquote explicit. You're not seeing penetration, you're not seeing anything like that, but you are, they're very sexy scenes, very erotic scenes, and there's one sex scene in particular on a boat with this smuggler and Jules Shepard. Playing Christina, that is the most explicit in the whole film. I mean, humping, everything. I mean, you could almost think that they were really doing it in this scene. And the film is very erotic. It's very sexual. It has great scenery. It feels warm. It feels like the Caribbean in some form or fashion. You're the beach, the waters, the boats, and even the one prison camp, with the helicopters and all the women and the baths and the soap suds and just all of this wildness. I mean, there's actually, this is a character what's very interesting, that she does not like women. She only likes men. She even tells the camera that at the beginning of the film. So any women that like her, it's almost like rape in a way. Women on women rape. Especially in conjunction with her captivity. Now, this is a film, I found it it's wild, it's sexy, it's seductive, it's sleazy, it's trashy, but it's also like has the exploitation, action, and thrills and wildness and fun. I mean, there's this one old man driver who will not go fast. And Jules Shepard just jumps in the truck, and just the way that it all goes down, and the motorcycles and the car chases. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of weird twists and turns throughout the film too, where you're not quite sure what's happening scene to scene. But I believe Jules Shepard did some porn, or did some porno shoots and things like that at some point in her career, and she does an amazing job in this film, and she looks great. And just even the closing credit sequence, the freeze frame of her, I mean, it almost looks like a penthouse photo shoot or something. And she shows it all front and back, and her outfits and the lingerie and the long shirts and everything. I mean, this is truly an awesome 80s sexploitation film that has some dark edges. It has some disturbing stuff. It has some action. It has insanity. It has captivity. It has smugglers, lesbian captors. I mean, it's a wild, wild film, and one of my favorite things ever, of course, totally naked club dancing. Yes. This is Christina, folks. Where's my cover? Here it is. This is Christina, 1984, put out on Blu-ray from Intervision. It's also on DVD as well, I believe also from Intervision, and you can get them on the Severin Films website. Here it is, starring Jules Shepard. This is an awesome one right here, folks. There are no special features on here, but the movie is great. If you like what you heard, this is the movie for you. Thank you so much for watching the Tamarind Bizarro YouTube page. Please feel free to check out all my other reviews of films that I believe need to be talked about more. And please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. Thank you, and Christina, good night.